Hello and welcome to this BBC Africa Facebook Live. This is a program where we take a look at the impact the COVID-19 pandemic has on lives and livelihoods across the continent. My name is Maya Hayakawa. Today is World Water Day, an annual event focusing on transforming global water challenges. This year's theme is valuing water. In light of this, we are taking a closer look at what it means to value water in the ongoing pandemic. We're glad you're watching wherever you are tuned in from. Remember, you can also join us through our partner stations, Capital FM in Kenya, Times Television and Capital FM in Malawi, NBS Television in Uganda, Bush Radio in South Africa, Splash FM in Nigeria, YFM in Ghana, QTV in Gambia, and Sky Communications in Liberia. Frequent and proper hand washing is the most basic frontline measure against the spread of COVID-19. Yet, a quarter of the world's population lacks access to a reliable source of water. The question we are asking you today is this: how can African governments prioritize access to clean water? Send in your comments and questions via the comment section below, and we will sample them throughout the program. In fact, let's take a look at some of those comments right now. This comment over here is from Rachel, who says they should stop stealing aid money. Wow, strong statement. Another one here from Amy, who says corruption has stifled the continent's development. Similar to the first comment there. Let's take a look at the next one here. A comment from Alexis, who says, really? In caps, I might add, don't have fresh water, but they have money for the vaccine? Wow. And this one over here is from Clinton, who says, if they cared, they would have prioritized the economic development for our resources. Well, keep those comments coming in, and if you have any questions, I will definitely float them out to our experts. And to help me tackle this topic, I am joined by Hermien Oberholzer, Principal Water Management Engineer at Anglo-American Platinum. Anglo-American has put in place several changes in their business operations to reduce their usage in clean water. As a result, the mining company was able to drop its water usage by more than 10% in 2020, improving water security for communities. Also joining me today is Dr. Hamed Beheshti, the co-founder and CEO of Boreal Light. Dr. Beheshti has developed technologies for drinking water supply. His company recently installed the largest solar water desalination project in Africa at the Kenyan coast. Now, the pandemic has sharpened awareness of both the extent and consequences of the water access gap, since the spread of the COVID-19 virus can be mitigated by good hygiene practices. According to UNICEF, 3 billion people worldwide still lack basic hand washing facilities. If nothing is done to address the problem, UNICEF estimates that by 2040, 1 in 4 of the world's children under 18, some 600 million, will be living in areas of extremely high water stress. What's driving this gap? Well, the International Finance Corporation highlights 5 key factors: global warming, increasing number of people living in areas facing water stress, rapid urbanization, emergence of megacities, and aging infrastructure. In fact, IFC points out that closing the water sector infrastructure gap will require an additional investment of $114 billion in developing countries each year up to 2030. So let's get this discussion started. I will start off with you, Dr. Hamed. How has the COVID-19 pandemic had an impact on the access of water in and across the continent?
I cannot talk about the entire continent. We are talking about a huge part of the world. I can talk about the parts that I've been active, mainly in East Africa and also South Africa. I can say that from the beginning of the pandemic, we could see higher rate in the water sales from our facilities. So people, especially at the beginning of the COVID, they got more cautious about the type of water they are drinking. So water was for people was one of the means of fighting COVID, and it still is there. Still, we see the impact of having hygiene drinking water and also washing water in communities fighting with COVID, depending to the level of their fights. So obviously, having access to water is key for those communities and for people. And in those communities, I heard actually the concept that you just raised, when a community even does not have a water for washing hand, we are just keeping them wash your hand. With what? Or having hygiene drinking water to drink just to be safe. But when there is not any hygiene drinking water, so they cannot invent it themselves. So water during the pandemic got far more importance, especially on its characteristic of healthy characteristics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hermione, you have a lot of experience in operating in a business environment that is quite difficult, facing water challenges and water shortages as well. South Africa was already facing water shortages, particularly in Cape Town. And then adding a pandemic on top of that, how did that affect the running of business?
Thanks a lot, Maya. In terms of South Africa, yes, we are very much a water-stressed country, and specifically our operations in the Limpopo Basin, our Limpopo Northwest provinces are really, really stressed. What we've done over the last several years is to focus on recycling and reuse, and specifically also using alternative resources such as treated effluent from the local municipal wastewater treatment plants, because that poor quality water we can still use while it's not always available for domestic use without extreme more treatment towards it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Was there something you wanted to add?
No.
Oh, okay. So Dr. Hamed, what's the economic impact of the shortfall of water access?
The economic impact of the shortfall is, it's interesting. People in urban communities, people with higher income are having more access to cheap water than the bottom of the pyramid. People with low income in rural communities without access to the grid or lack of access to the grid, they are paying by far higher costs for their drinking water. So this is the contradiction in terms of a development and bringing hygiene, bringing new resources, especially in the time of the pandemic, that the bottom of the pyramid, they are paying 6 times, 4 times, 10 times more than the ones that they are in the urban communities and they are on the top side of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm. Hermione, of course, water scarcity is a global issue, and it was a key area of focus at the World Economic Forum. A statistic was brought up which said that by 2040, there'll be a 40% deficit in water supply globally. So tell us what water conservation means to you and also Anglo-American Platinum, which operates in, water-scarce areas.
Yes, Maya, as I said, we really focus on water conservation, demand management in all our processes. And the first way to do it is by recycling and reuse of your existing water. Our Anglo goal, the global goal, is to reduce our fresh water use by 50% by 2030. That's not only to make sure that we are water secured, but also to improve the water security in our host communities around our mines. We work towards increasing awareness of the importance of all resources. That is eliminating waste, stop polluting, reducing, reusing and recycling. And we create that whole culture of environmental protection amongst our employees, but also amongst our communities.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Hamed, in your opinion, what are the biggest factors driving the access to water sanitization gap?
The availability of water. From one side, now we are clearly seeing that the impact of climate change is affecting the water quality and water availability. So I would take it as first foremost that when there is no water and the alternatives are either too expensive or too far, or even there is no alternative, this is the key driver there. So we are in a phase that we should make water available in the communities that they already had it, and not just for drinking. Many times we are just focusing on drinking. The same problem that is affecting drinking water at the meantime is affecting irrigation water. When in the drinking, we are talking about the health of people. In the irrigation side, we are affecting the business. We are affecting the income of the communities. So these are the two sides of the one coin. So they are impacting they are negatively impacting the communities at the same time from their economic development and from the health development.
Right, let's take a look at some of these comments over here. Rachel Knight, you say, there has been enough aid money poured into Africa to provide clean water and sanitization for all, but the corruption has denied it to millions. Take the millions off the corrupt leaders and spend it properly, and then it would be easy. And Okom, you say, most localities in Uganda access safe water, but women take longer in boreholes because of numbers. And Fredo, you say, water is scarce here in Zambia, despite having so much water bodies such that a lot of areas are in short supply. And Chukwu, you say we are having a water problem in Nigeria localities. Well, keep those comments coming in. And if you have any questions for our guests, do just pop them in the comment section below. Now, clean water for all, is it achievable? We meet a 17-year-old girl in Rwanda who is finding out how close rural communities like hers are accessing clean, safe water.
Impamvu hano mu rugo tudafite amazi ya robine nuko amazi tuvoma aturi hafi ntago byaba ngombwa ko tuyazana hano mu rugo. Dukoresha udomora tukajyayo tukayazana kuko tujyana ubwo dushoboye tukaza tukayashyira mu binini.
Ibyabaye muri aka gace nuko nyine twaburiyemo inshuti yacu. Nibyo bibabaje byabereye. Twaje kuvoma nyine dushoje kuvoma nyine tugerageza kogaho nyine birangira aguyemo. Nyine kubera ko tutari tuzi koga twagerageje guhamagara nyine abantu ngo baze bamukuremo nyine babasha gutinda nyine birangira aburiyemo ubuzima. Nyine byaratubabaje cyane twakura isomo yuko tutakongera gusubiramo, ariko nta mahitamo nyine dufite kubera ko ariyo mazi tugira yonyine tuza kuvoma. Turasaba leta cyangwa se n'abandi baterankunga nyine ko badufasha bakaduha amazi meza kugira ngo tubashe kureka kuvoma aya mazi mabi.
In our planning processes, we try to target those that are very far, those that are in the most need, those areas where we have settlements that don't have water. We aim that by 2024, people residing in urban areas get clean water within 200 meters, whereas in the rural areas, they get water in 500 meters. That's our aim by 2024.
Amazing there. So what has been done to address this challenge? Well, many African countries have had to take drastic measures in recent years to tackle water shortages. In South Africa, Cape Town's historic shortage in 2018 led to authorities rationing drinking water to 50 litres per inhabitant per day in a city that was used to consuming large amounts of water. That very same year, Côte d'Ivoire received emergency funding of $8.5 million US from World Bank to cope with serious water shortage, boring and fitting 20 new wells and rehabilitating 82 hand pumps. More recently, as a result of the pandemic, Ghana launched its free water campaign, giving citizens free water supply. But this came to an end in December last year. So back now to my guest. Dr. Ahmed, how are you addressing the water challenges in communities in Kenya? I heard about some projects that you are leading there.
We are, as a company, we are manufacturing solar water desalination systems. So this is the system we manufacture, especially for rural communities, for those without access to the grid, without access to hygiene drinking water, and they are struggling with salinity in their bowls. But this is the machine we are manufacturing. The other side of the work is on the business we are creating from our own machine. So we have designed a concept. It's called water kiosk. Every water kiosk has one of our solar water desalination systems at the heart of it, and delivering hygiene drinking, irrigation, fish farm, and sanitation water to villagers. So in practice, we reshuffle the economy of a village by different type of waters that the villagers need at an affordable price. Actually, several of your audience, they were commenting about the aid, and they were talking about just the NGO style activities that they just give free water to people. In practice, all our recalls shows that yes, aid is good, donation is good, but when it comes to the products like water that should run for a long time and its durability, its sustainability is concerned, if it's just through donation, it spoils. It doesn't go long. It just affects the sustainability. But if you can create a social business out of a water sector activities, that is the key for development of rural communities. Social business means the water goes at an affordable tariff to people, and the income is invested in the same community. So it's not just for the sake of money generation. It's also for developing the community from the same project they are hosting there.
And Hermione, why is water preservation important for businesses?
Oh, definitely. We as Anglo has a value, a global value that we believe in thriving communities around us. Thus, we can't take water, having a business, without investing in our doorstep communities around us. In terms of providing water to these communities, we've been providing around our Magalakwena mine in Limpopo. We've been providing water initially by trucking, but to work towards more sustainable measures, we started a program, the We Care program, during the COVID period, and we focused on providing water to about 53,000 people or 24 villages by partnership with Halcor, drilling water for them and provide them with enough water for them during this period.
Right, temperatures in southern Africa are rising at more than twice the average global rate, according to experts. It's had a devastating effect on climate change, with prolonged and more severe droughts, as well as a water shortage crisis. It's forced people in one community to go to incredible lengths to find water. Take a look.
A prolonged drought has forced some into dangerous territory in the search for water. In Hopley, a sprawling, largely informal settlement in southern Harare, community boreholes are running dry. But many have found respite here among the dead. Every day since June, community members have been streaming into this nearby graveyard. The young and the old, plastic containers in hand. After a 4-hour wait, it's 15-year-old Monica's turn at the well.
It's frightening, but we force ourselves to drink it. We are charged for this water, but we also pay to draw water from community wells. We prefer this one because it's cheaper.
The hundreds of people who crisscross the cemetery every day seem unaware of the dangers of contamination from embalming fluids and decomposition. The water from these hand-dug shallow wells is used for everything: laundry, bathing, and even drinking.
When you've got your situation, then you get used to it. People said that in the beginning, that it's near to the graves and that, this and that. But then all of them come and test the water, and it's just like any other water. So then they drink it, no one gets sick.
This is a perfect example of the changing weather patterns. We're told that the water at this national dam used to extend beyond the cattle and even reach up to the trees. But some would say that the water crisis in Zimbabwe is not just about climate change, but it also reflects a leadership failure. The capital's taps only work a few days a week. Some suburbs have had no running water for over 10 years. Michael Chideme is the city's spokesperson.
The city of Harare is in the process of providing piped water to some of these communities.
Water shortages have left people vulnerable not just to disease but also to abuse. Young girls told me their stories in no way linked to the Hopley well owner.
I was in a queue and I was about to fetch water, and then came a man.
I complained when a man put his bucket in front of mine in the line. He said I could draw water if I dated him. When I refused, he kicked my buckets and pelted me with stones. No one helped me. He says I can go back there unless I date him.
Experts say by the end of the century, climate change will have reduced rainfall in Zimbabwe by up to 20%. The current desperation, a stark warning to the world of what can happen when water sources dry up. Shingai Nyoka, BBC News, Harare.
Well, Dr. Ahmed, even pre-COVID-19, there was a huge challenge with climate change. How can we mitigate the challenges of climate change and its impact on water scarcity?
The situation is in a way that we normally say mitigation. It's the water solutions are now policies of adaptation rather than mitigation. This is the new reality, not just for drinking water, for irrigation water. Borehole, as I said, boreholes are getting saline, so people are losing even their farms. So this is the new adaptation strategy. This is the way that the world is working. The best then scenario would be whatever solution we are bringing to our adaptation would not be in line to what we have done during the past century to polluting the earth, running diesel engine to produce drinking water, or using the grid even that is again running by fossil fuel. So solutions based on renewable energy, decentralized solution, minimizing the truck watering that itself, again, they are polluting the environment and they are non-reliable, using a lot of chemicals for keeping the water safe during the truck transportation. This is the solution that we try to bring it as a solar water desalination system, completely running on solar energy without any need for diesel or whatever. But when it comes to the pandemic, the other things that is now happening is the hospitals who are in the front line of fighting COVID-19, they are in need of water. Again, the same story. They are lacking electricity, they are lacking infrastructures, and again, decentralized solution can play a big role for hospitals fighting the COVID and bringing a solution that otherwise should run either by diesel engines or fossil fuel, or even there was no any other alternative for them.
Well, there's so many different layers to this conversation. Hermione, tell me more about the water strategy that you are taking on and how this takes the COVID-19 pandemic into consideration as well.
Yes, Maya. Our strategy work on the concepts or levers of water security, water stewardship, and then also to be operational excellent. And the way that we're doing it, operational excellence is going to be about using technology to not lose a drop of water on our sites. Where we have dams on site, we are busy or planning to do either to put covers over those dams to not lose water through evaporation, or solar panels even. We are looking at other technology like dry stacking. As I've also mentioned, we're reusing water. We keep on reusing it until a point where we actually have to retreat it to be able to have a good quality of water. We're also catching water or water coming from our tailings dams by taking them from boreholes, and not only taking that little bit of water, but to make sure that there's no pollution plume going from the tailings dams. In terms of our water strategy stewardship, what I've mentioned also was that we've been providing a lot of water to the communities around us. It is about making sure that they have water. The less water we as a mine use, the more water actually is available to communities. But we must look at sustainability. And with that is also to make sure that we never spill from our mines. Because if we spill into the environment, obviously, we are polluting a resource, and that we can't do. So we're very, very strict on any discharges into the environment. And then in terms of our COVID projects, as I said, we use the we care that we're looking after our communities, that we make sure they have water, water for sanitation, water at the schools, and to make sure that they can take that water and at least sanitize or wash to make sure that they also are protected from the COVID.
All right, some comments over here. Francis, you say, we also need to invest into rainwater harvesting here in Zambia. We enjoy good rains, but much of rainwater goes to waste when people can actually take advantage of it for domestic usage as a supplement. And Oladipo, you say, if the government is unable to provide water at this century, it means the purpose is defeated. And Joel, you say, girls are abused on their way to and from the water sources. This is mainly due to long distances to water sources. That is a comment there from Uganda. Well, I have about 2 minutes left. As we wind up, Dr. Hamed, as we think about the theme for World Water Day, which is valuing water, what is the message you would like us to take home today?
The value that I want to bring, or the message I want to bring to this special World Water Day, is remembering fighting COVID-19. Hospitals and health clinics are in the front line. And I heard a very interesting word from a nurse in a hospital in Kenya last week. She said, when it comes to hospital and health clinic, water is not just water, it's medicine. So fighting COVID does not just need vaccine, it needs many others that water is also playing a very key role for it, especially for those who are in the front line. This is my message for this special year.
That is a powerful message. How about for you, Hermione?
Yes, for me, it's about saving every drop. Every drop can be used, it can be treated, but if we let it go to waste, either through pollution or through leaks from our pipelines, then we can't use that. So please save every drop and make sure that every drop is available for our country, for sustainable, that we can keep on using it in the years coming.
Well, there you have it. You've heard from the experts. Before the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, water scarcity was already a huge problem for many African countries. With the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbating the problem, governments have shifted their focus in attempts to help address the water crisis. Much has been done, but there is still need to go ahead with a long road ahead. Remember that water preservation starts with you and me. Let's be mindful with how we use water. Well, that's it from me. Before I go, let's remember that we must continue to follow safety precautions, wear a mask, maintain physical distance, practice proper hand washing, being mindful of the water you're using, and sanitize as often as possible. And if you experience any COVID-19 symptoms, please visit the nearest health facility. Thanks to our guest, Hermione Oberholzer, the Principal Water Management Engineer at Anglo-American Platinum, and Dr. Hamed Beheshti, the co-founder and CEO of Boreal Light. Also, thank you for all of you who took part of this Facebook Live from BBC Africa. Keep the conversation going. A big shout out to those who joined the conversation through our partners. That's Capital FM in Kenya, Times Television and Capital FM in Malawi, MBS Television in Uganda, Bush Radio in South Africa, Splash FM in Nigeria, YFM in Ghana, QTV in Gambia, and Sky Communications in Liberia. My name is Maya Hayakawa. Let's meet next Monday, same time. Bye-bye and keep safe.